Danny, let's bring you in here on set with us. So special counsel Jack Smith, who brought this, is calling for a speedy trial, but that depends on Judge Aileen Cannon, right? Of course, that's this Trump appointee who randomly was selected to have this case in her courtroom. Tell us what that means in terms of speed here.
It does, and had this been the regular magistrate assigned to Judge Cannon, we might have gotten some idea of scheduling yesterday, but my understanding is that this was just a general assignment federal magistrate, which is also a judge, but they exist as kind of an assistance role to federal district judges. But the bottom line is Judge Aileen Cannon will end up handling the scheduling of this case. Will the case stick to that schedule? I bet no, because unexpected things are going to happen. This is a very significant case, a lot of very complex issues. I promise you the defense will be filing a jubilee of motions, either to throw the case out, to suppress evidence, all kinds of things that will extend the time and delay the trial. And by the way, there's nothing nefarious about delay in this case. It probably inures to the benefit of the defendant, but the defendant will be filing lots of motions. Anytime you have a novel, arguably novel application of the law in an unprecedented situation, as a defense attorney, you've got to test the law, if not just for the district court, but for the appeals court. If things go badly, your client's convicted, you have a shot on appeal with a relatively new, fresh issue.
And Danny, one of the kind of quirks here, so we heard Ken mention him a moment ago, his valet, this person that works for him, his co-conspirator in this case, also facing charges, also in court yesterday. They are still working together. He still works for Mr. Trump while this unfolds. Does that complicate things? Absolutely it does. And this order by the judge restricting the defendant's ability to speak to people in their circle, not just Nauta, the alleged co-conspirator and current co-defendant, but a number of other a number of other sources of information for DOJ. Let's take a step back. The judge said, look, DOJ, you need to come up with a list of the people that Trump can't talk to. But in the meantime, Trump, you can talk to those people because you don't know who's on the list. That seems a little awkward, right? Because these are people that may still work for him. Trump may have people in his office who will be offering evidence against him at trial, and he doesn't know it yet. Talk about an awkward workplace environment. So when DOJ comes out with that list, then Trump can no longer talk to those people. He cannot talk to his co-defendant without counsel present. Very awkward situation because they probably have a joint defense agreement, I'm guessing, which means that they can pool information and keep it privileged. So you have a strange situation where they're essentially acting as a team, but as a team with limitations on communication.
Really quickly, there's been some talk of whether Walt Nauta will flip or not. I mean, that joint defense agreement, can that essentially elapse or vaporize at any point?
Poof. It goes away as soon as, and this happens all the time. There's been a lot of reporting about how Walt Nauta, they tried to get him to come in and cooperate. He's not interested. He's holding fast. Yeah, that's today. In 3 months from now, in 6 months from now, when the trial is looming and the fatigue sets in and Nauta starts thinking about, oh, what are my sentencing guidelines if I'm convicted? These folks, they change their mind. Happens all the time.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.